plastic and all that other stuff is our problem.
You know the spin-off of carbon dioxide off of us making fuel for corn, our corn?
Yeah.
That's being tanked and sold to the pot industry. That's they're putting the carbon in the pot from, a byproduct. Yes,
Grief.
yes, they put them in tankers and they sell it to the pot companies.
All I'm saying
How
is
much does people know, you know?
all of the climate models where they did all these predictions, oops, they forgot that we have clouds, and none of that was factored in.
We have cows too.
So, because when the ocean warms, you get more clouds. When if it's cold, you get fewer clouds. None of that's factored in.
That's 5:59 with 10 seconds.
We'll give him a second. You can start without the chair.
They say this thing is only 30 days, it'll be in and out, no way. And I have,
All rise, the prosecutor has entered the facility.
I have core drillings from 3,500 feet, and it's a
You know,
bluish
people start to
gray,
send,
more green, and there's just little crevices in there with crystals in it. And they just feed and feed to feed, and that's what they wanna push it into. And then if you ever could get Detroit, hear about the salt mines, it's unreal.
Well, that's probably why they're sinking.
6 o'clock.
That's probably why all this sinking stuff.
Michael?
And they come clear up to Newport, they come clear up to Stony Point, fish shafts.
Now call this meeting to order. We'll get a roll call, please.
Commissioner Hoffman,
Present.
Commissioner Asper,
Present.
Commissioner Heinzerling,
Present.
Commissioner Lamore,
Present.
Commissioner Wenzel,
Present.
Commissioner Swartout,
Present.
Commissioner Moore, absent, Commissioner Levens,
Present.
quorum present.
Before we move into the Pledge of Allegiance and the opening prayer, I would like to ask all of us to observe a moment of silence for the multiple tragedies that have happened in Monroe County since Saturday. If we could have a moment of silence, please. Thank you. And now if we could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will now move to our opening prayer.
God of peace, we pray for unity in our meeting today. We have come together as a group united in passion and in purpose. Come and help us maintain unity as we discuss certain matters. We pray for open hearts and minds that will promote and accept better ideas. If there be anyone who is remiss, we ask for humility to accept and learn from necessary correction. Dear God, we seek your honor in everything we do and say, so we lift this meeting up to you. Be in our midst, bind our hearts and our minds by your Spirit. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I got it. Our next agenda item is approval of agenda. If I could get a motion, please.
So moved.
Moved by Swartout, supported by Lamore. Are there any questions on approval of the agenda? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is approval of minutes from the June 3rd, 2025 regular meeting. Could I get a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
That motion waive the reading?
Moved by Levin, supported by Lamore. Are there any questions, additions, corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Asper,
Yes.
Commissioner Heinzerling,
Yes.
Commissioner Lamore,
Yes.
Commissioner Wenzel,
Yes.
Commissioner Swartout,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore, absent, Commissioner Levens,
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman,
Yes.
motion carries.
We now move into our first segment of public comment. Are there citizens who would wish to address the board? Seeing none, we'll move into resolutions, special tributes, and presentations. Our first item is a presentation from TMA COG TEMCOG by Ms. Sandy Spang, Executive Director.
She's not here yet, so I just move on to the CFO presentation.
Okay, Ms. Spang is not here yet, so we'll move on to our second presentation on the recruitment process for the County Administrator, CFO of Monroe County by Mr. Jeff McBee, Human Resources Director.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. As you have requested, I'm here tonight to go over the planning of the process for the recruitment of the next County Administrator CFO. I was fortunate enough to have a couple meetings with my counterpart over at the city, Dr. Everly, very helpful. Got a lot of good information, went through the process they utilized to get their city manager recently. And again, it's very helpful, shared some documentation. Actually, a lot of what I'm gonna go over came from those meetings. It's all based on standard executive recruitment process. So it's best practices, it's techniques that have been utilized all over the country for executives in both public and private sector. So I think we're on good ground. It's a 4-phase process with a number of components, and I'm gonna go through each of those for you tonight. Starts off with phase 1, the planning and preparing phase. And component 1 is the development of a position profile, a review of a job description to create the posting for the job. The one thing that is a little above the norm, I think, is this development of a position profile. Most postings will just have a job description. So this position profile, what that is a list of characteristics and traits that you would like to see in the leader of this organization. Now, what I have in your packet this evening was an example. I think by any standards, it's an example of what a leader should be. So you're free to obviously, change that, add, subtract, whatever you want to do. That's your prerogative. But I wanted to get that to you ahead of time, so a little more on that later. I'm going to give you a deadline for some homework, hopefully. And then there's the review of the job description. I also included in your packet the current job description. I believe it's up to date, but I wanted to make sure you all had that at your fingertips. So ideally, next meeting, we can come back and approve the posting, which would be comprised of those 2 elements. So that's the goal at this point. Component 2 is the development of marketing strategies. In this day and age, what that really entails is identifying resources and avenues to get that job posting out there. I've compiled a list. It's going to be in a later slide. I think we're on good ground already there. So that more to come on the details with that one. And then the recruitment of candidates is basically just getting that posting out on all those resources and then collecting those applications from those people that are interested in applying for this position. 4 is conduct an initial reference check. And above and beyond that, what I'd like to do is do a public record search, a social media search, just to give you all the information that you're going to possibly need to at least get into the next phase. So I'd like to get that all collected as part of this process. And then component 5 is a review and rating of those materials and an organization of them to present the candidate pool to the board. I talked to the chairman and a couple other commissioners about possibly starting a steering committee comprised of board members. And I was thinking if we're going to do that, this is probably one key area where we can streamline it, kind of get ahead of it, because in the next phase, that's when the full board is really going to dive in and get to work. So I thought that might be something for consideration. So evaluation and selection is the second phase. Now, one thing you got to know going into this is that the candidates have a right to remain anonymous for some pretty obvious reasons at this early stage. So we need to respect that right and abide by it. So to present the candidate pool and reference check information to you, not going to be done at a public meeting. My suggestion is that I will compile this into some binders and invite you in to the office at your convenience to go through and take a good dive through all the materials that we've collected, so you're well prepared going into the next phase. More to come on that later, but that next phase is to select the candidates. Again, they have the right to be anonymous at this stage. So my suggestion, and it probably needs to happen, is that this should be done in a closed session, maybe after a meeting, so you can actually refer to the candidates by name and really dive into their backgrounds as you're deliberating amongst yourself on who you want to see move forward in this process. Because once you come out with that list, I need to let these people know next stage is interview candidates, and that has to be done publicly. So the candidates you select, I'll let them know that if you want to go forward, you got to come in, and that has to be done during a public meeting. So that's the next stage of the process, getting through those interviews. Once we get through those, you can select a finalist or finalists. Somebody may be head and shoulders above everybody else. Then you might decide, well, we're good. More than likely, you're going to have a few solid candidates that you want to hear more from. So in that event, we've kind of built in another stage of, which is component 5, which is conducting a final performance task, a site visit, and additional interviews. Now, the final performance task is an actual exercise that I've asked one of our department heads to put together, a written exercise based on a real-life situation. And the candidates would have to respond to that, so it gives you a real good idea of how they're thinking and actually, if nothing else, the writing skills. So that would be a part of that. And then the site visits. The county has a lot of different sites. So this person is going to be potentially in charge of all of that. So we want to get them out there, see what they're getting into, and have the people out there get a chance to even meet these people. And finally, the last round of interviews. And with that, hopefully you got a final selection at the end of it. And once you do, we're into the offer negotiations, phase 3. You make that conditional offer of employment. Now, while they're considering it or after they've accepted it, I'm going to strongly recommend that you do a very in-depth, extensive background check. This is a huge investment you're making, so I think you got to do all the due diligence you can to make sure you're making the right choice. So we can get that in the works at that time. And then finally, we have the negotiation of the terms and conditions of the employment agreement. And once you final approve and make that appointment, we begin the onboarding process. And that's the end of the phases. I did want to get back to the marketing. Typically what we utilize is the County Monroe Career Center. We get a lot of good interest just from that alone. The Emergency Management Division Director, that's all we went with, and we got 20, for the vast majority, were highly qualified candidates, and I think we touched 5 states. So that's a great resource in and of itself. But then I've listed a number of associations and other websites that would, if somebody's looking for a position and qualified for a position like this, it's probably going to be made apparent that it's out there. So again, I think we're on really good ground with this approach. So next steps. I've already talked about, I really want you to take a good hard look at the documents that I provided in the packet tonight. If you have any changes, this is yours. This is, you're doing the hiring here. So I would ask that you do a really good review, and if you do find something you want to change or add or anything at all, please let me know. But if you could do so by June 25th, that would be really appreciated. The goal is to have it in by our next board meeting. So that's what I'm shooting for. And then just put together, I think, probably a pretty optimistic timeline, but not impossible. If everything goes well, we could make this work. Starts tonight, complete the job description. Profile goes all the way through, hopefully, on July 1st is the next board meeting. Maybe that could be all done, and we move on to soliciting the applications, which is getting that job posting posted. July 2nd for 45 days. We talked about that and said that's probably just about the appropriate amount of time, not too short, not too long. And then after the posting is done, we begin to compile, review, and rate the candidates. That's a week probably, of some pretty intensive work. We'll get that done. And then August 25th to 29th, that was when I would like to invite you in, one at a time, two at a time, whatever works for you, if we're gonna go with that process and have you actually take a good hard look so you can see exactly who it is without compromising the anonymous nature of it. And then we get out of that, so you're hopefully well-informed going on September 2nd. That's a board meeting night. I would suggest at the end of that board meeting, you do a closed session and select some candidates. Now, if you really aren't comfortable at that point, you don't think you have the quality candidates you want, you have the option of going with an executive search firm. I know Commissioner Asper mentioned a headhunter. So that would probably be a good time to, make that decision if that's what you think needs to happen. But we do make it through that process. I booked in 3 days for interviews, non-board meeting days. Don't know that we're gonna need that many, but I just wanted to get that out there so you're aware of what could potentially be. And then finally, we select the finalists after those interviews. Maybe it's one, and we go on from there. Maybe it's multiple. Then after that, if there are multiple, we'll go through to begin that process of the performance test, site visit, and the additional interviews. And then at the end of that, potentially by October 7th, you could have your final selection. And that's really the process in a nutshell.
Other questions for Jeff?
One of them you already addressed is, what if nobody meets our expectations? I was also wondering, as far as the description of the job, I do think that Monroe County has, higher expectations because we have a lot going on here. And so I was wondering who gave input to that description. Is Mr. Bosonic, giving input? Because it's one thing to say, oh, we have an executive and they can do this task or that task. But the one thing that's been extraordinarily helpful to me on this board is that he can take the numbers because he understands. If a person really understands, they can explain it in simple terms. And so I want to know what I'm voting on. And he's always been able to bring those numbers down, if it's a pie chart, whatever it is. And quite frankly, we know he's like the best in Michigan. So I'm kind of doubting that we're going to just find somebody just through those organizations. Those all seem to be related to Michigan. But I'm very interested in him having input into the job description if he hasn't already, because there's so many, it's like the plates going on the little things. And he has the historical knowledge. And still, unfortunately, we got rid of the deputy, which that cost us quite a bit of money to do that study and actually find out that less than probably 18% of the counties don't have a deputy CFO. So I'm just kind of concerned about this whole process going forward. So I'm just letting you know ahead of time.
Understandable, appreciate that.
Commissioner Moore?
Thank you, Chairman. We discussed possibly having the candidates do a video interview as well.
Yes, I've been working with our IT director, Jake Perry, and we have just about got that figured out. So
Where would you put that in the phases?
we can plug that in to the application itself. My thought was to bring it back to you at the next meeting as and have them introduce themselves and explain why they would be a good fit for this opportunity.
Excellent.
Under 3 minutes, yeah. Give them a time frame.
Additional questions?
I might have missed it. I came in a few minutes late, and I apologize for that, fellow commissioners. But it looked like towards the end of the process, we had background check and investigation. Now, I know that'd probably be a little more extensive, but are we doing anything up front when we get down to that? Say we limit it in the phase 2, where we're limiting it down to X amount. I would hate to get all the way through the process and then find something at the 11th hour, excuse me. Is there anything we're doing on the upfront side to just do some type of light search to, we're not hiring someone with a valid warrant or something.
Yeah, that was in phase one. Good point on the active valid warrant. But we were going to do a public record search,
Okay.
Social media search, and even do the reference checks in phase one of this before we even get going.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? I do appreciate the work that Mr. McBee's put into this. I think it's a thoughtful, disciplined approach. I will be honest, I think the timeline is a tad ambitious, but let's see how it goes. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
We'll now move into our presentation by Ms. Sandy Spang.
It's a good spot for me here.
That's
Thank you.
perfect. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much, Commissioners, for allowing me some time in your schedule tonight to come and present about the services that TMACOG offers. Monroe County has been a longtime member of TMACOG. I'm a relatively new executive director of TMACOG, so I thought it was important that I come and visit your meeting and talk a little bit about the services that we do provide to Monroe County. And I'm sorry that I arrived a little late. I did take the walking tour of your campus here. My administrative assistant got me here very well, but I didn't know exactly what door to come in. So you have beautiful buildings, so it was great. And Grace, I want to thank you for all the help that you gave her. She was really impressed with your efficiency, but I didn't know which door, so that's good. But I enjoy seeing the meetings of the elected officials of our member communities. We have 83 governmental members at TMACOG, and they are as different as the communities that they represent. So I really don't mind being able to see you deliberate, and so I didn't mind at all having an opportunity. I'm a former elected official myself, and I think that that's a strength because I think I understand the challenges and opportunities that the communities that are members of TMACOG face. You have a unique position with TMACOG and with SEMCOG because you are members of both of our organizations. And I have a kind of unique experience because my youngest son worked for the National Association of Regional Councils. That's the organization that is the umbrella organization against the hundreds, about 500 regional councils across the country, and he worked for them for about 3.5 years in Washington. That was great for me because when I first went to our first conference that I attended, just a couple of weeks into my time at TMACOG, for 4 days, no one called me Sandy. I was Eli's mom. That was good entree for me. They liked my son, and that was great. And he had told me, he said, I'm going to tell you of a few really great organizations that you want to get to know the executive directors. And one of them was SEMCOG. SEMCOG is an outstanding organization, not just in our part of the country, but nationwide. Amy O'Leary is recognized as a great leader, and SEMCOG is a great organization. And you are members of both. We do give you a discount on, so you pay half of TMACOG's fees because you are a member of SEMCOG as well. And that is because you are part of the Metropolitan Planning Organization, and we'll get to that in just a quick second here, because you're part of the MSA for Toledo. So you were put into, by the federal government, you were put into the MPO for Toledo. And so because of that double membership, I take very seriously the importance of our delivering value to Monroe County. So I want to point your attention to a very brief presentation that I have for you. And, oh, here's the clicker. I don't have great clicker history, so let's see how I do. So again, we are committed to collaboration. Regional councils, that's what we do best, is we bring regions together. So most of the regional councils in the country were formed in the 1960s. That's because that was when the Federal Highway Administration really wanted regions to stop competing for federal highway dollars and start making regional decisions together about how highway dollars should be allocated. And so regional councils formed all across the country. But they do many different things. People are often surprised to find out, for example, that TMACOG actually founded the Area Office on Aging in our area. And then, of course, that spun off as an independent agency. But across the country, regional councils do lots of different things depending what their regions needed. But there were a series of congressional mandates that highlighted the importance of regional planning and coordination, and regional councils began to form. And you can see here, we have a lot of different boundaries. We have the Lucas, Wood, and a small part of Monroe County then, those townships that fall into the Metropolitan Planning Organization form our MPO. But you can see that the counties that are here, Fulton County is our newest member, and Fulton County also has dual membership. They are a member of the Maumee Valley Regional Council, but the value I think they found is that we are also a council of governments. Maumee Valley is not a council of governments, and some of the programs that we have, I think, have been valuable to them and some of their member communities. So Lucas, Wood, Ottawa, Sandusky, Fulton, Monroe. So regional councils are an agency that has multiple political subdivisions. We provide cooperative planning, coordination, technical assistance on issues of mutual concern. That means that changes all the time. You know, as you have to face new issues, our job is to constantly be changing with you and with your needs. But we're not supposed to duplicate what any of our members do. And our goal, of course, is to unify our region. So with the Council of Governments, we offer a lot of educational programming. And I do want to point out that we do hope that Monroe County communities, as well as the county, take advantage. One thing that we have started that has been wildly popular has been GLEAN. It's an acronym, Government Leaders Exchange. This is where I get in trouble. Affinity Network, and it's for people who have the same job. We have one for administrators, so it's really popular with the township, village, small city administrators. And we have one for fiscal officers, one for utility billing. They share best practices, challenges. It's just a great way for them to exchange information. We had a lot of really critical retirements within the region, some new folks coming in, especially among the administrators. They meet quarterly. It's hybrid. Some come in person. Some it's too big of a drive. GLEAN is really popular. People just like the opportunity to talk about their jobs together with other people who are doing the same job. The MPO, the Metropolitan Planning Organization, that is ordained by federal law. Those rules are ordained by the Federal Highway Administration. We do the planning for your townships, but MDOT does the funding. It's interesting. So we exchange checks with SEMCOG, but that's how that operates. And we create a long-range transportation plan, and the projects for your townships that are in the MPO are in our long-range transportation plan. It's critically important that that's up to date because it affects your ability to get grants. And so we want to make sure that if a new project arises, we want to make sure that we make amendments to that plan. And then that leads to the Transportation Improvement Program. That's how dollars are allocated. And I want to make a special point that we have just added your local architect, Jim Jacobs, who serves on your road commission, has graciously agreed to serve on the Metropolitan Planning Organization Policy Board. That is the board that makes those final decisions about allocations of funds. And he's embraced it enthusiastically. He's taken a special training, so he understands the MPO. And so you're well represented on that board. And we have been excited about his commitment to the board. And so very appreciative that he has stepped up and is representing Monroe County's interests on that board. So here you see the MPO. You can see Wood, Lucas, and the 3 townships. And so we are also the Water Quality Planning Agency, the 208 Water Planning Agency for you. Oh, and I should pass these out to you here. 208 is a chapter in the Clean Water Act. So in the 70s, after that initial formation of so many regional councils, then along came the Water Quality Act, Clean Water Act in the 70s, and that was when TMACOG began in earnest to do environmental work. And we do water quality planning. We are the designated wastewater agency. So we help to make sure that new developments are in alignment with wastewater plans and are hooking up to the right facility. And so that we do for Lucas, Wood, Ottawa, Sandusky County, and those lower 3 townships of Monroe County. And then, and we also do general water quality planning for the watershed. So for Lake Erie, and for those tributaries of Lake Erie. And so you can see here where our authority for the 208 program, that red outline shows you where we have the 208 Water Authority. We've been talking to Fulton. We'd love to expand over into Fulton as well. When you aren't in a 208 authority, the EPA makes those calls for your development projects. So I think having an organization that you're a member of make decisions on your development projects is preferable to having it default to the EPA. So that's my presentation, and I just want to add additionally that we have a tremendous trove of data. We have great GIS mappers. We just added a full-time safety planner. I've been in Washington a couple times now in this administration. Secretary Duffy, Secretary of Transportation, has laid out his 4 top priorities. Priority number 1 is safety. We know that there are some things that aren't going to get funded in this administration. Bike paths are not a top priority for this administration, but safety is, and we can work with that. So we added a full-time safety planner who has fantastic mapping skills. So we're working with safety. The innovation is a priority. Moving dirt, as they say it, they want to move projects faster, so we think there's going to be some changes in the NEPA rules. So these are things that we are anticipating and working forward with. So if you need data, if you need mapping, if you need things that will be helpful to you, and especially on the water quality piece, if there's some data that we can help with, members call us all the time, and we want to be helpful to them. And so I just want Monroe County to know that we're here for you too, and that your membership matters to us. So if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, but I'm just happy that you were able to give me some time in your meeting today.
Well, Sandy, thanks for being here. I appreciate you presenting. I know 8 years ago when I got on the board, I thought to myself, what in the heck do we need with TMACOG and SEMCOG? And I represent Temperance, and as the representative for the board on TMACOG for the last 6 years, has been very, very helpful to not only meet other commissioners, trustees, mayors, but also just the resources that you guys have. And then I also realized, being such a close border community, probably a third of my calls have to do with something in Ohio. So I just want to let you know, TMACOG has been very beneficial for me representing a border community like that.
Well, thank you so much. Those are very kind words. And I do want to tell you that we are very excited about the Gordie Howe Bridge. And some of you might remember when TMACOG used to put a freight conference on every year. And they kind of burned themselves out when you do anything every year like that. So in 2013, the staff went to my predecessor and said, we're burned out. And they went to our state organization in Ohio. And you probably know the answer to how this went. Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Columbus have been rotating amongst themselves. And you know, our region knows, really, we can tell a better freight story, right? Well, don't say I said that outside this room, okay? But you've got Port of Monroe, Port of Toledo, you know, and now with the Gordie Howe. And you know what makes the Gordie Howe so fantastic? It's the customs. The Ambassador Bridge, both its feet are in residential neighborhoods, so not much freight moves at night. Because people have said to me, so it's a bigger bridge, so is that a big deal? It's the customs. So this freight conference at the end of July, we are taking all the attendees up to the Gordie Howe Bridge, working with the Bridge Authority, and they are going to tour the 167 acres on the U.S. side of customs clearance, 38 customs bays, 26 sub-bays. That bridge is going to make a difference for all of our communities, and we are promoting that. Nationally, we're promoting that bridge is there. That, you know, we have been told by our Freight Advisory Committee, we do have a freight and rail specialist among our planners. We've been told that our truck drivers who are on our advisory committee, that if the ambassador's backed up, their dispatchers will send them to Port Huron, Michigan, or to Buffalo, New York. They're not going to build a warehouse in Monroe County if they aren't sure that the truck's going to get across efficiently. That bridge is going to make a difference. People are saying, no, it will. And I-75, right when you get off that bridge, they have put that new interchange and they have straightened that out so there are no difficult truck turns. That bridge will make a difference for Monroe County. It's exciting. And so we're trying to promote that and say, look at us, because we can handle freight here. And so I'm excited about that. So I would have been remiss if I didn't mention that. We are trying to do everything we can to maximize the importance of that for our region. So, but we do want you to take full advantage of all of our programs. I think you are blessed because you are right in the middle of two great organizations. And so we want to work together to give you the maximum value. So thank you all so much.
Thank you, Sandy. Our next item is finance matters. Item 1 is payment of the 6/18/25 accounts payable current claims report in the amount of $1,383,084.99. Could I get a motion, please?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Supported by Lamore, moved by Lamore, supported by Huffman. Now we'll listen to the report. Sir.
Good evening. On page number 1, vendor number 20554, Bell Tire Distributors, is maintenance on the sheriff vehicles. Vendor number 50531, Environmental Enterprises, Inc., Household Hazardous Waste Collection paid through the Solid Waste Fund. Page number 2, vendor number 121021, Lucas County Coroner's Office, it's contractual autopsy services. Vendor number 191803, Johnson Controls Fire Protection, fire system maintenance at the main jail. Page number 3, vendor number 200426, the 53rd Group, it's contractual custodial services for various facilities. Vendor number 720776, Hunter Lawn Service and Snow Removal, contractual lawn mowing services at various county facilities. And on page number 5, vendor Veterans Bureau, Meadowbrook Estates, it's emergency assistance for an indigent veteran, and that's the end of my list.
Thank you. Are there questions on the report? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Wenzel,
Yes.
Commissioner Swartout,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Levens,
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman,
Yes.
Commissioner Asper,
Yes.
Commissioner Heinzerling,
Yes.
Commissioner Lamore.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. We now move into consent agenda. Item 1, approval of non-claims. Letter A, check register dated June 6, 2025 in the amount of $866,877.42. And B, check register dated June 13th, 2025, in the amount of $879,686.48. Could I get a motion, please?
Make the motion.
Second.
Moved by Swartout, supported by Lamore. Are there questions on this motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Swartout,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Levens,
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman,
Yes.
Commissioner Asper,
Yes.
Commissioner Heinzerling,
Yes.
Commissioner Lamore,
Yes.
Commissioner Wenzel.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Now moving into communications, item 1, letter dated June 10, 2025, from Judge Amanda Eicher, First District Court, requesting approval to apply for a grant from the State Court Administrative Office for the funding of the FY 2025-26 Mental Health Recovery Court in the amount of $185,336, with a local contribution of $1,152 to provide for payroll, processing costs, and travel costs that cannot be provided by the grant. An additional appropriation of up to $279 would be required in 2025, with the balance of $873 requested to be included in the 26 budget. Could I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Moved by Asper, supported by Lamore. Are there questions on this motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Levens,
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman,
Yes.
Commissioner Asper,
Yes.
Commissioner Heinzerling,
Yes.
Commissioner Lamore,
Yes.
Commissioner Wenzel,
Yes.
Commissioner Swartout.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item 2, letter dated June 10, 2025, from Judge Amanda Eicher, First District Court, requesting approval to apply for a grant from the State Court Administrative Office, fiscal year 2025-26, Monroe County Sobriety Corps, in the amount of $84,171, with a local contribution of $419 to provide for payroll processing costs, travel costs that cannot be provided by the grant. An additional appropriation of up to $229 would be required in 2025, with the balance of $190 requested to be included in the 26 budget. Could I get a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Levens, supported by Huffman. Are there questions on this motion? Yes.
Is this a new court now that Commissioner Levens was talking about? Is this new, or have they already started it?
This is the request for approval to apply for the grant.
Okay,
So I don't want to
just
step on
started.
anybody on the court, because the district court director, Ms. Chafin, is here. And I'm going to take this moment at Commissioner time. I was going to mention that the district court rolled out their online filing, and their customer service is impeccable, because you always have bumps and hurdles, and I'm not always the easiest person to deal with on the phone. And Jessica was absolutely amazing this afternoon to redirect and focus my attention in getting the job done. There, I wanted to give you some time as you.
And we did update the website for that.
Oh,
Have you
thank
checked it out? The sobriety court is a new court. We did come earlier to ask to do the LAO. So that's approved and that's on our website, but the actual court has not started yet. We are just now applying for that grant. So we are hoping to get approval for the grant, and then we'll have a sobriety court by the end of the year.
Wonderful. Any other questions?
Just a quick comment so that we can, gloss over at members' time. This will put Monroe with our neighboring counties offering this, next tier of specialty courts, in addition to the mental health that we just addressed, the veterans we're going to talk about next. So we have the full complement for all of our citizens' needs within the four corners. And truly, it's a great thing, because the folks that struggle with sobriety, once they get on their feet, don't have a lot of the resources to, get them back into the proper fold with transportation to provide for their families and the rest. And this gives those that deserve it the opportunity to do so.
And they do hold court, for mental health court twice a month, veterans court once a month. I'm not sure what sobriety court will look like, but those are open court. And if any of you would like to come and see what it's about, I'm sure the judges would be happy to have you there.
Additional questions? Yes, Commissioner Asper.
One real quick one. The only problem I have sometimes with these courts is that I feel like when we have a specialty court, anybody who's qualified to take advantage of that really should be able to. But usually what happens is we have to make some sort of selection process. And so I just was wondering, how many people do you think that court could handle? I don't know what their timeline is. Mental health was usually over like 2 years or something, but how many people will we actually be able to benefit from this?
It depends on how many we have, and we are limited on who we can take. With it being a state-funded grant, they're very specific on what kind of crimes you can accept into the program, and it is very intense with a lot of success, so it
Sure.
is good. I wouldn't say we have a lot of people that are turned away that are qualified for it. They really do make an effort to get everybody that needs help that help.
Okay, all right, well, thank you.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Levens,
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman,
Yes.
Commissioner Asper,
Yes,
Commissioner Heinzerling,
Yes.
Commissioner Lamore,
Yes.
Commissioner Wenzel,
Yes.
Commissioner Swartout,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Item 3 is a letter dated June 11, 2025, from Judge Michael Brown, First District Court, requesting approval to apply and accept a grant award from the State Court Administrative Office for funding of the FY 25-26 Veterans Treatment Court in the amount of $35,840, with a local contribution of $814 to provide for payroll processing costs and travel costs that cannot be provided by the grant. An additional appropriation of up to $100 would be required in 2025, with the balance of $714 requested to be included in the 2026 budget. Could I get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Moved by Swartout, supported by Huffman. Are there questions on this motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Hoffman,
Yes.
Commissioner Asper,
yes,
Commissioner Heinzerling,
Yes.
Commissioner Lamore,
Yes.
Commissioner Wenzel,
Yes.
Commissioner Swartout,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Levens.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item 4, a letter dated June 11, 2025, from Judge Cheryl Lohmeyer, requesting approval to apply and accept a child and parent legal representation CPLR grant for fiscal year 2026 in the amount of $116,500 from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services with no county match. Could I get a motion?
So moved.
A second.
Moved by Lamore, supported by Huffman. Are there questions on this motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Asper,
yes,
Commissioner Heinzerling,
Yes.
Commissioner Lamore,
Yes.
Commissioner Wenzel,
Yes.
Commissioner Swartout,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Levens,
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item number 5, letter dated June 3rd, 2025, from Mr. Chad Zunin, Interim Emergency Management Director, requesting approval to accept additional funding from the Southeastern Michigan Urban Area Security Initiative Planning Board for Monroe County up to the amount of $46,000 with no matching funds required. Could I get a motion?
Make the motion.
Second.
Moved by Heinzerling, supported by Lamore. Are there questions on this motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Heinzerling,
Yes.
Commissioner Lamore,
Yes.
Commissioner Wenzel,
Yes.
Commissioner Swartout,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Levens,
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman,
Yes.
Commissioner Asper.
yes,
Motion carries.
Item number 6, letter dated June 9, 2025, from Ms. Crystal Comer, Fiscal Manager, requesting approval to apply for and accept the FY 2023 and FY 2024 Operation Stone Garden Grant Awards in the amount of $70,200 for the grant period of September 1, 2023 through July 31, 2026 for FY 2023 OPSG, and $63,000 for the grant period of September 1, 2024 through July 31, 2027 for fiscal year 24 with no local match required. Could I get a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Moved by Huffman, supported by Swartout. Are there questions on this motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Lamore,
Yes.
Commissioner Wenzel,
Yes.
Commissioner Swartout,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Levens,
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman,
Yes.
Commissioner Asper,
yes,
Commissioner Heinzerling.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item number 7, letter dated June 11, 2025, from Chief Deputy Mike Predmore, requesting approval to accept the FY 2025 Marine Safety Grant in the amount of $12,850, which will reimburse 75% of eligible expenses not to exceed the grant award amount. Could I get a motion? Moved by Heinzerling, supported by Lamore. Are there questions on this motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Wenzel,
Yes.
Commissioner Swartout,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Levens,
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman,
Yes.
Commissioner Asper,
Yes.
Commissioner Heinzling,
Yes.
Commissioner Lamore.
Yes.
Motion carries.
We have no public hearing, so we'll move into old business. Item 1, Michigan Indigent Defense Department update. Ms. Gantos?
Yes, Mary Gansos, Indigent Defense. Did everyone receive the information that was sent out to them from Raymond and from the Finance Office memo? Both of them have come back and said that there was no abuse or fraud.
I would challenge that. I believe that wasn't a letter of endorsement. It indicated may and the rest, and in fact, I think the next step is the final, requirement to have Raymond, do a proper forensic. I mean, they looked through the numbers that we received, and candidly, looking at, they indicated multiple dates of high numbers, questions with software billing, questions of time entries on dates not reported. I mean, basically, the answer to the fraud was admission of fraud itself. Like, hey, I had, days I billed that I put on different days than the rest, and I don't want to be, just that lonely voice in the void. I would welcome, any other support from this board, to back me up on getting to the true heart of this matter of a proper accounting forensic of someone to look, with an eye of someone that is trained to do this, to find out, with finality, was or was it not fraud. That wasn't an endorsement letter. That's just that we looked at what you got. We had some concerns. It may or may not, but it wasn't definitive. And we're not talking about peanuts here. We're talking in excess of $500,000. A person who in less than 2 years individually billed the equivalent of 20% of the prosecutor's budget as a court appoint representative to indigent defendants in addition to a full private practice. And I'm not comfortable with just saying, hey, we did our college best and moving on until it's been a fully vetted situation. So I'm welcome for any participation from my colleagues.
You have my support, Vice Chairman.
You
And,
got my support too here. We need to.
and if I recall in the report, it also mentions something regarding corrective action. So with that being said, that means that there was something done inappropriately that had to be corrected.
Yeah, so if everything's up to snuff, there wouldn't have required corrective action. And it indicated that, how cases were assigned, how billing was done, the software itself. And so I'm going to, ask that, with approval of the board, that, leadership, look to Raymond to do a proper forensic, but let's not get the cart in front of the horse. Ask them to, give us a proposal. What they, I mean, they're the experts. They looked at the preliminary numbers, what they would request a parameter for it and bring it back to the next meeting.
I would make that
I make
motion.
that motion.
What were we asking the first time then?
Yeah.
The first time we asked it, well, one, Canada was so, and this is, the prior MSC director, you remember told us time and again, basically there's nothing at issue. We looked at the piecemeal invoices and the rest, and each time I said, well, this is catching up from the last time. Well, this is catching the last time. Hey, this person, didn't really bill this many times. It's only, all the questions have been answered, with something that presents another question. And so when we finally had an invoice, if you remember back in September, was almost $90,000 for 1 month. Finally, Raymond was contacted to, do a quick sampling of numbers and date stuff. And that was that letter, I believe, in October that indicated, and it's summarized in the two things that we had, indicating 1 day of 23.8 hours and all the other alarming concerns. And it indicated in that early letter that these numbers are hard to justify if this is all you're doing. But when you realize that these are independent contractors that are doing this in addition to private practice and the rest, it raises that specter. And I'm not just looking at this in isolation. I've received a lot of calls from our community members, and I'm not going to mention the name specifically, but people in law enforcement, jurists, fellow practitioners indicating that these two outliers weren't essentially the stellar defenders of justice. These are people frequently at the numbers that they billed didn't line up with the performance that was shown before the bench with colleagues and the rest. And they said, Henry, you got to do something about this. The board can't just give this a pass. And so let's say at the end of the day the system isn't broken. It's still broken because a couple creative people were allowed to game the system to the tune of hundreds and hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars per year for, and I think we're blending kind of stories here while we're looking at a defender's office so that we can have justifiable salaries with proper supervision and metrics. But so to answer back to your original question, it was that, first letter from Raymond back in October that said, hey, there's a problem. We see these problems, and we're reporting to you to see what you can do internally. That internal didn't come to a resolution, so now this requires that forensic. Our county attorney said that this raises an eyebrow. We've had conversations in agenda meetings where Phil said, I'm looking at this, and Phil Goldsmith, our other corporate counsel, that this doesn't sit well with them. So we need that forensic, and so, is there a motion?
Well,
I know Commissioner Ashford wanted to make a comment too, so I want to make sure that she gets her time.
I'm just saying that we started this a while back. I'm not comfortable with making accusations, especially after hearing this letter that doesn't have any specific accusations. And we've already heard all the saga of all these different software things and the changes in software and so on and so forth. And whether you could bill for, people who were paralegals and so forth on different days. And that, if you had 2 or 3 days to put together things like that. So I'm not comfortable with accusing them of that. And I just think we just keep going on and on down this black hole. If we've got a system now that they know how to report, I would say going forward, we're not going to have that problem. So I would like for this to end. We just keep going on all these different, and it's, you don't do any of these cases. And for them to do 20% of their practice or whatever being these cases is a huge amount. And I give these people credit because this is very, very difficult work to do. So I don't know. You guys can make your decision, but I just am very uncomfortable with making accusations when the letter came out and does not specifically say that. And now we're going into a forensic, which, like Commissioner Moore, I thought that was what this was a forensic. So,
Commissioner Moore?
I would just say when I got the letter, it seemed like it explained exactly what we were asking. They're billing to the 10th of the hour, which is within state parameters. They didn't find any misuse of those billing because under the rule of law, they can use paralegals for those billings, and that was explained. There was some times that they billed on different days, which technically not legal, but they're cleaning up those practices of being more accurate on what days to bill. You can't put it on Friday if you physically did it on Tuesday, is what I gathered from this. And this might be an issue of, you're eventually going to find what you think you want to find if you keep doing this. We've paid these guys to do this, and they're well respected out of Ann Arbor, and they've done many different things like this for us. I don't know if it'd be prudent to keep pursuing this if you're saying Raymond did this, and now you're saying, well, they didn't do it good enough, so let's have Raymond do it again. Do we have an issue with Raymond, or are we looking for something that we don't like the answer to? That's the issue I'm having. Does that make sense?
Certainly does. And I followed up when I received it. I said, is this a letter of endorsement? So the back to us, I called Daniel Clark, our lead, point this. I said, this is an endorsement. He says, no, it's not an endorsement letter. It's saying that we haven't been given the wherewithal to take it to the next step. We've looked at what you've provided us with your data sheets and the rest, but these were samplings, and we have found, in their words, probable cause to take it to the next step. I'm just going to say it. I think this is administration wanting to put an embarrassing, chapter to rest and not get to the truth. And I'm going to call out any commissioner that is comfortable letting hundreds of thousands of dollars of taxpayer dollars go out the door unanswerable and just saying, hey, going forward, we won't let it happen again when we have an opportunity to correct it now. Not an opportunity, a duty to correct it now. And there is more than enough that we have presented. I mean, even you said, like, they keep moving the mark. Well, it was, billing this month for last month. And then we said, well, no, that's not true. This keeps getting bigger and bigger. Oh, well, it's a software glitch. We were told, and you were at the last fall when we had the member from the MIDC say, you are not permitted to bill staff. And then you are permitted to bill staff, and you can do this and that. I think it, at this point, given the number that is involved, needs to have a proper person that has a full global perspective, that knows how to, count the beans, as they say, to come back and put it to final rest, especially given the dollar amount at stake. This isn't a squishy $100, $200 thing. We're talking next to, when you look at the two vendors, $1 million.
Right. My concern, without getting into accusations or anything like that, I was contacted by an employee at this company that said a commissioner called them and said, you need to find these type of findings for this to be a successful report. And I just don't know if we should go into something and say, we're looking for this specifically, you need to find this, when in fact, a company like this, I want them to have an open mind. I don't want an endorsement. And I don't want them saying, we think these people are guilty. They're supposed to say, here's what I have, here are the numbers, this is what we found. Wrongdoing or not, or whatever it was. And I'm just seeing 2 pages that say everything is within the legal limits of what they should be doing on what we were given. Are you saying they weren't given the proper things? And they need to be given, more numbers or more examples?
I could speak more clearly, but I'm not an accountant, so I'm just going to defer to the chair.
Okay.
I personally think that there needs to be a deeper dive taken on this matter. When you talk about close to $600,000 billed, clocking 56 hours in multiple weeks, 23 and a half hours on a particular day, another vendor that's billed for $450,000, I don't think in any way, shape, or form this most recent report exonerates those individuals. I think it needs to be investigated further with a true deep dive forensic audit. Commissioner Swartout.
I think the next thing we should do is have an operations committee meeting with this company to answer our questions and clarify things. Because there's discrepancies on different things, and I think interpretations. Now, I also understand that in some cases, every one of those attorneys can't do all the jobs there. Some of them are more specific on certain areas. So some might get more jobs to do.
Well, it's been pointed out to me that Raymond's a big company, big corporation. They have divisions that they each have their own segment of what they're responsible for. So this most recent report was not a division that works on forensic audits. And so I think there's more to be learned about this. Just the numbers themselves make you say something is not right. And obviously something wasn't right. Otherwise, they wouldn't have made corrections in the last. And kudos to Ms. Gantos, because she's taken it on. But this started well before she tried to help the cause. I don't think we're done with this until we have a full forensic audit.
I guess we're reading 2 different reports then. Point 4 says, after reviewing the billings that were flagged for detailed review and the responses from the attorney supporting the work in billing, we concluded the attorney bills were fair and accurate. I mean, what are we looking for then? We just don't like the answer they're giving us, that it was fair and accurate, no laws were broken, and they explained, actually they go into detail about the amount of money actually being below the average for a system like this. And that it was higher because the attorney taking it was taking a majority of those cases. And then on top of that, they said they talked to some of the plaintiffs or the defendants, and they said no issues in the quality of work either, we found. So what are we looking for, I guess? What are we concerned about in this report specifically? Like, pull something out of these 2 documents in 12 pages. I'm just wondering.
Commissioner Asper.
And I am just not satisfied with anonymous calls. You know, I'm not saying you're lying. I'm just saying anonymous calls do not move me right, left, and center. Also, it just seems to me that if we were going to go forward with this, I would want Raymond here talking to us, not just to operations, because we have all these segments of commissioners. Some get information, some don't get information. But I want Raymond to stand right there, that corporation, and say,
Well, maybe you weren't
yeah,
listening.
there's
That
a
was the
problem,
response we
and
made.
this
The
is the
motion-
problem.
the
Please,
motion
please,
was-
may I finish my
No,
point?
we're done. The thing
Okay.
is
There
we
it is.
asked for Raymond
Point of
to
order,
come
the
in
commissioner was speaking.
and come in and give their presentation.
Point of order.
That
The
was
commissioner was speaking and you
that was the
interrupted her.
request. I'm speaking.
Commissioner Levens.
I'm
No,
speaking.
you interrupted her. She had the floor.
Absolutely not.
You don't tell someone they're done in the middle of speaking. That's not Robert's rules. She has the floor. She can finish.
Commissioner Asper, go ahead.
So I think that you have to, in light of what was in that letter, and first of all, we were told that it was a forensic audit. So apparently, whoever set this up didn't go through that. But I'm just saying, none of this anonymous, somebody calls somebody or whatever and says this or whatever. There are jealousies that are going on as well. And I just feel like what we need to do, if we want to go through with that, I think we have to have Raymond tell us, yep, you're right. There's a bunch of problems here. There's a bunch of forensic problems here. But I think that what Commissioner Moore quoted seems pretty straightforward to me. So I am going to move that we table this. And if you can get Raymond here to tell us in person that this needs to go on and that there's a serious problem, that's fine. But we're still throwing away money one way or the other. So
Is there support for Commissioner Asper's motion?
Support.
Any discussion on the motion? Roll call, please.
Chairman, I also made a motion as well.
The motion to table has got to take precedence first. Motion to table has to take precedence, sorry.
So we'll roll call on the motion to table.
Commissioner Schwartout,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Levens,
No.
Commissioner Hoffman,
No.
Commissioner Asper,
yes.
Commissioner Heinzerling,
No.
Commissioner Lamore,
No.
Commissioner Wenzel.
No.
Motion does not carry.
Now we can go back to the original motion, and if I could ask Vice Chairman Levens to restate the motion, because I do think that'll bring some clarification.
And that's what I was trying to do before I was rudely cut down by apparently commissioners that don't care about waste of taxpayer dollars. But notwithstanding, the request is at the next regular meeting is to have Raymond come in, make a presentation with their recommendations of parameters of what needs to happen next, so that way we can professionally and finally put an end, or at least perspective with this. So again, the request is to have Raymond come in with their recommendations, clarification on where we're at and how they professionally advise us to proceed or not proceed.
And I believe Commissioner Lamore supported this motion. So now, are there questions or comments on the motion? Commissioner
I
Hoffman.
think it's pretty important we do this, because if we don't, we're gonna open up to a free-for-all. Hey, you wanna make a fast, easy buck? I'd like to jump into a county or a town or a city with my business and find out that you can charge this kind of money and not be questioned. I mean, we gotta set a precedent, really. Even if they were right, we still gotta get it right.
Commissioner Asper.
That was not the original motion. The original motion was that we would just go forward and pursue a forensic. It was not about bringing them here next month. That was my suggestion.
Additional comments or questions on this motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Hoffman,
Yes.
Commissioner Asper,
No.
Commissioner Heinzerling,
Yes.
Commissioner Lamore,
Yes.
Commissioner Wenzel,
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartout,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
No.
Commissioner Levens.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Santos. Is there any new business?
Chairman,
Yes.
I noted that Human Resources Director McBee had partially made a request for putting that committee together. Would this be the prudent time to do that in order to expedite the process?
Yes.
Then I would make a motion that we would go forth with a committee for the CFO hiring process of Commissioner Moore, Commissioner Swarnout, Chairman Wenzel, and myself.
Is there support for this motion? I'll support it. Supported by Huffman. Now are there comments or questions on the motion? Commissioner Asper.
So I really must object. This is the fourth meeting that we've had where we approved the agenda. There's absolutely nothing under new business, and very significant things have been brought up under new business. This one wasn't quite as significant as last time or the other two times, but if you want something on the agenda, I would really appreciate it if the commissioners would put it on there and they would discuss it with all of the commissioners, because I just feel like certain commissioners are being closed out of things. There are meetings that happen when we're not there, and so I really think we need to step up on that. And if you want something on new business and you can actually predict what you were going to say, it should either be up higher when we were talking with Jeff, or it should already be on the agenda. We approved this agenda as it was. There's nothing under there.
Are there additional comments?
I would tend to agree with Commissioner Asper that it doesn't give any of the other commissioners a chance to talk to the other commissioners that are going to be on the steering committee if they wanted to be on the steering committee. I mean, I appreciate being included on that, but I would think a full discussion of the board or make it an agenda for next time would probably be better.
Okay.
But that's just my opinion.
Any other comments?
Chairman, I'm more than willing to rescind that motion based on that, but I was only acting upon what the Human Resources Director had requested.
Well, I would tell you personally, it made sense to me. Commissioner Moore was there, Commissioner Lamore, I was there. We listened to the presentation. I know Commissioner Swartout had a prior engagement, but he was invited to that meeting. It made sense based on the kind of the fast track that we're trying to go on this, to move with it tonight. But that's just my opinion. It can, if Commissioner Moore wants to rescind it, then so be it. Commissioner Asper.
The point was really the fact that if Mr. McBee was going to be requesting that, he already said it in his presentation, and there was some knowledge about this before this meeting, and so it should have appeared under new business. If we're going to approve the agenda, we should put all the things on there that we're already aware of. And that was just a natural thing that would flow out of that. It should have been under new business what we were going to do. And all you would have had to do was just put a topic. You wouldn't have to say the specifics, but put the topic so that at least we know there's going to be something brought up.
Just to be fair, I was under the assumption it was going to be on the agenda, and when I didn't see it on there, I just assumed we had went a different route. I did see the presentation by Mr. McBee, but I mean, I would prefer that too in the future.
Commissioner Moore, I'm more than willing to rescind if you'd like me to do that.
I think that would be best if the full board doesn't want to vote on it right now. There might be someone that you might find better than me to be on it that wasn't included in that official floor, and I'd be happy to give them that spot too.
Mr. Graham.
Probably the attorney's the last person you want to hear from now, but so here's what I would say. I would say probably best not to vote on it, and I appreciate the rescission overture, and we could put it on the agenda for the next board meeting. But really, when committees are made up of board members, usually the chairman is the one who creates those committees. And now that you've heard from your fellow board members as to who is, or the fact that we need the committee or subcommittee, and who should be on it, I think the chairman should just do that and then announce it at the next meeting. That's how we normally do these committees. That's what I think would be best, rather than a motion that wasn't on the agenda. You know, we can add things to the agenda with a 2/3 vote and all of that, but, you know, honestly, point well taken, and I understand what you said, because I was at the meeting too, and I thought maybe there's something like that would be put on, so I think the chairman should just make the committee, announce it at the next board meeting, and then we move forward that way.
Just to be clear, he has the full right and authority to create a steering committee at his will and place anyone he wants on it. It's a courtesy of the chairman to inform the board. I just so we're all clear, I wasn't trying to say you did anything improper.
Nope.
Chairman, with that being
agree.
done anything improper.
Point well taken. Commissioner Moore has withdrawn the motion.
Yes.
Commissioner Huppin has withdrawn the support, so we'll move on. Thank you.
Keep everybody happy.
Now, our second segment of public commentary. Are there citizens in the audience that wish to address the board? Seeing none, we have no announcements. We'll move now into members' time. Commissioner Moore,
I'll pass.
Commissioner Swartout,
I'll pass.
Commissioner Lamore,
Pass.
Commissioner Heinzerling,
I'll pass.
Commissioner Asper,
Pass.
Commissioner Hoffman.
I just got a couple things. I want to thank our people because they always come forward and get us all this grant money. If it wasn't for our people being so aggressive in these grants, we would not be getting them. And I feel that our county would not be as strong as it is if it wasn't for our employees. Your business is just as strong as your employees make it, and we have good people working for us. And I just want to give them a thanks out there, because I know you're always out there hustling for us, for the whole community. And then also, I want to say something about the clubhouse for the mental health. We went to that thing, and it was super great. I'm hoping that it can continue, and they get the fundings they need, and like Mr. Swartzoff said, maybe we can help out when they need it, just to keep them on their feet. But them people are so excited, and they feel like they're somebody, and they're real people. And they're gonna get training and possibly get real jobs, and I mean, it was good to see. And then last of all, we got a big thing at the battlefield this weekend, so if anybody can be there, it'd be good. Thank you.
Vice Chairman Levens.
Pass.
Mr. Bosanic?
Just a reminder, there's an open house, what's today, Tuesday, Thursday, on DTE and Battalion's test well in Milan Township. It'll be at the Milan Middle School. So it's just an open house from 5 to 7, so they don't have a planned presentation. So if you're interested in it, there'll be representatives from the environmental testing company who will be doing the drilling, and then DTE as well.
The only thing I'd like to bring up, and I did talk to Mr. Bosanic about this, and the way he pointed out is for our next meeting scheduled for July 1, it's a smaller agenda, although an important agenda with important items on it. It falls on a Tuesday before the 4th, which is on Friday. I know a lot of families and commissioners have vacation time during that time. For your consideration, because it is going to be a smaller agenda, I would like you to consider us canceling the agenda meeting on June 26th and having a regular meeting that night at 6 o'clock instead of the agenda meeting. You guys, the full agenda could be sent out well in advance. I just think it might help our members and with plans that they have over the 4th, over a holiday weekend.
What are you proposing again?
So our normal agenda meeting would be on a Thursday, June 26th. Because it's a smaller agenda, we would cancel the agenda meeting in its place on that night, have our regular meeting at 6 o'clock. And then that way, the whole next week, which is really a holiday week for many people, they wouldn't have to worry about a Tuesday meeting on July 1.
And I know this would delight you, but unfortunately that night I'm a president of an organization that has a dinner that night.
Okay.
So that's been planned for quite a while. So, but you might have the first meeting without me in 8.5 years.
Statutorily, do we have to have an agenda meeting for that new meeting on the 26th on a different day?
I'm looking at Mr. Bosanic. He's saying no, but I'll let Mr. Graham.
Okay.
No.
You can call off an agenda meeting.
Okay.
I guess the chair has the ability to I don't recall ever having a meeting on a Thursday.
You know, a decision doesn't have to be made tonight, but we do need to give public notice of a change. And so we would need time to do that too. So I don't know what your pleasure is.
Because I have my calendar, I'm gonna voice my support for it, because I block off that afternoon already for the travel and the agenda time, so it doesn't cause me, for whatever it's worth, any scheduling conflict.
I'm good with Mr. Masonic?
So I'm also offering as a alternative, since we're moving the date, does the time need to be moved to, is that convenient for everybody? Is 6 o'clock? Could it take place at 5 o'clock? I'm not sure if that addresses Commissioner Asper's schedule conflict or anybody, or causes a conflict for
Unfortunately, it
somebody
starts
else.
Doors open at 5:30, and then the dinner's at 6, so.
If you don't filibuster as much, we can.
Why
get
don't we
done
have it at the
15.
country club, and you can all just pay your $25, and
Well,
we'll have the meeting.
Get new members.
Would 4 o'clock work for you?
No, because that's the preparation time and getting the money thing set up and all of that, so I'm sorry, but.
All right. Commissioner Swartout?
Well, the first part of the week, won't we know if we really need to have a meeting that night?
Well, there were some things brought up tonight during Mr. McBee's presentation, some other things possibly regarding Raymond. I mean, there would be some important items, but it's just not a lot of items.
The steering committee too is on a timetable, you know, that we just tabled essentially.
Does it have to be on a Thursday? Could it be Wednesday? Is there a better day?
No, I could make a Wednesday work.
I can make a Wednesday work.
I can make, yeah, I'm open.
It does not work well for a clerk who has, no, you can't. I'm sorry, I don't know what's gonna speak for you. I'm gonna get in trouble for.
You need to pray for us.
Need to pray for
Yeah, Wednesday would be good.
The 25th would work for me. Is that what? Is
I
that what
think
the-
you're going to have to just ignore me being there because that's vacation Bibles. I've actually scheduled for 2 things that night, so don't do your stuff around. I have vacation Bible school and I have a mental health board meeting, so don't include me in the.
Well, Commissioner Asper, if we do have Raymond coming in, I would like you to be present for that.
I'm just saying it's not looking very tenable because all next week is vacation Bible school, so it's just not looking good.
Are there other days during the week? Let's try one more. How about the 24th?
Do we have a? I mean, I'm open at 2 in the morning.
No days left.
No days left.
What about the 30th? Could we just do it the day before or is that getting too close to the?
Well, it's the holiday week. I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
we're
was just
trying
throwing
to-
it out there.
Trying to go.
Yeah, Chairman and I were just trying to, how can we accomplish the business of the board on behalf of the county and be considerate of people who may have vacation plans and not interrupt those or allow those to go forward, that I can't do it because I got a meeting. Oh, now the meeting, now I can do it. So so our options sound like still Thursday, maybe at 5 o'clock, and then why don't we monitor, you know, in the next few days, what's coming in on the agenda, the items that may be ready to go, and the chairman can make the decision.
Is that okay?
I mean, that's the chairman's authority to set the agenda, so.
Are we gonna do it for the 25th then?
Tentatively?
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Taking it all under advisement, he'll make a decision
Yep.
accordingly.
Yeah, because I can be there on Wednesday, but not Thursday.
Okay. All right. I will now adjourn this meeting.
Did you say 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock?